We are live at Brave Haven Studios with the Coach Scott Field Show. It is June 2nd here in the beautiful Salt Lake Valley. Bob, it's a beautiful day today.
Yes, it is.
In the 90s today, huh, buddy?
Man, I tell you, nice and warm.
Toasty.
The weather along the Utah in the springtime is always interesting. In early summer, cold one day, hot the next. You never know what's around the corner.
You gotta love it. I got a little burn on my bald spot. Got a little tender in the shower, but life is good. You know what I'm saying? All right. Hey, an exciting show today, Bob. Brandon Sly, Riverton High School standout, is going to make his college announcement right here on the show here in about the next 5 minutes. It's been an interesting venture this entire year, talking with several schools, the visits that he's made out of state, in state. He's got his choices narrowed down, and he's actually going to sign that national letter of intent right here live in about 5 to 7 minutes. So we're super excited for Brandon Sly to announce his college choice. He didn't want me to say, kind of like LeBron on ESPN where he was taking his talent, so I guess I'll refrain from embarrassing him that way. But,
Too late.
Oh, yeah, we already threw it out there, didn't we? Also, a buddy of mine, a former player that actually played for me over in Lebanon. He's actually one of the staff members with the Memphis Grizzlies. Mark Sanford is going to be on the show after Brandon Sly makes his announcement. And a buddy of ours, good friend of the family, we've been out hitting golf balls together. I actually got to do work with him on his Powerhouse Sports Show. BYU alum and also a Utah Jazz pre- and post-game sportscaster, Alma Harrington from right here in the Salt Lake Valley is going to come and be a live studio guest with us.
All right,
so
great.
An outstanding lineup. I'm excited to get things going. Just a little bit of news that's going on. Our poll question for today, we were asking everybody who's going to win the NBA Finals. Having some people kind of signing in. They're telling us on Facebook. They're sharing with us on Twitter. A few private messages coming through. It's interesting. I've kind of labeled this series the Denim versus Diamond series.
Right.
You've got the glitz and glamour, big market, Miami, South Beach. LeBron James going for the three-peat, which Pat Riley has coined the phrase. He trademarked it, so he's going to see if they can't follow through and get that three-peat for the Miami Heat. And then you've got the hard-working, small market, veteran crew, Coach Popovich, and the San Antonio Spurs. It's interesting, though, because it's like the Miami Heat. You either love them or you hate them.
Right.
There's never, a simple balance there. So it's kind of interesting to hear how people say. I posted it on Facebook several hours ago, and then right away, one of the managers from the MGM down in Las Vegas, he just said San Antonio with a big old smile. He's a Spurs fan, so they're looking for him. A former player of mine in Lebanon once again. His nickname was Ra. His name's Raed. He's living over in the Arab Emirates. So he shared with us the Spurs. He says they got to move the ball, though. That's the only way to win on offense. On defense, they have to contain the role players, neutralize them as much as they can, finally focus in the end of quarters and end of game situations. They should be able to do it. So that's 2 for 2 with Spurs. And then a former player of mine who played for me in college, way back when I had a lot more hair at Chaminade University in Hawaii back in the early 1990s, Charles McLemore out of Chicago, he says the Spurs in 6. You gotta love that.
Wow.
It's
that's
interesting.
That's stepping out on a limb there. Spurs in 6.
He's okay. The replay from last year, the Spurs could have won it in Game 6, but Ray Allen, Chris Bosh gets the rebound, passes out to Ray in the corner. Ray does what he does, spots up, shoot, knocks it down, ties the game with, a minute, 0.5 to go. Not a minute, actually 1.5 seconds to go. That sent it to Game 7, and then Miami just handled it. So the Spurs have kind of wanted this revenge all year.
Yep.
They started off the season. Popovich, showed the game film from last year. He wanted them to have that chip on their shoulder. They accomplished what they needed to accomplish. They beat a nice Oklahoma City team. They're in the finals. So here we go. Ding, ding, ding. It's round 2. Spurs and Heat. Your son actually chimed in on Twitter for us. So thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. He says, hoping for the Spurs, but worry about the Miami Heat that they will win. He says, but as a Utah Jazz fan, I dislike them both. You gotta love that honesty.
That's right.
So, hey, if you want to sound off on our poll question, we'll also ask our guests what they feel about the Denim and Diamond Series, the NBA Finals, starting this Thursday, June 6th. It should be interesting. Who you liking, Bob? Just curious.
San Antonio, just because.
Okay.
A lot of reasons.
Okay.
But main reason, they're kind of like every man's team. They work hard. They work together as a team.
Yeah.
They have some really older players with Tim Duncan and stuff like that, but still contributing and still providing that leadership. And I just like that work ethic that they provide.
You know what? Let me tell you why I like the Spurs. I think Greg Popovich does a masterful job of keeping his fingers on the pulse and knowing the needs of his players. He does have an older team. You don't teach experience. He's let those guys rest. They're going to be prepared, and I think they're going to be ready. Mentally, this is what they've wanted. They've come together. They've had a common goal, but their spacing on offense is outstanding. The way they come off the pick and rolls, the way that they have their angles set, the penetrate pitch, the extra pass, they always have a wide open look. Their offensive execution is outstanding. The question is, within a 5, 6, 7 game series with these veterans, is it going to make them too tired? You got Tony Parker, he's got the injured ankle. How is he going to feel? What I like about the Spurs this year compared to what they had last year, they have more bench depth and contribution. Their role players know their roles, they embrace those roles, and they do an outstanding job. Talking about role players, look what Ray Allen did against the Indiana Pacers. Came in, went 4 for 4 from 3 the one night. We didn't have our show last week, so we didn't get to talk about these kind of things, but what a fun series it should be. Can LeBron James, King James, will his team to a three-peat? When they first went down there together, when Bosh and LeBron signed, they all made jokes sitting up there on the stools. Oh, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, not 6. So this is what you want. You got to be careful what you wish for because it may come true. Now you have to make it happen. So Spurs Heat Thursday night. Let's jump it up and let's go to work. Let's have some fun with it, huh, buddy?
That'll be fun.
All right. Some other NBA news going on. Phil Jackson gets a $25,000 slap. Tampering. Talking with Derek Fisher before he's even done. NBA says, Phil, you can't do that, buddy. So everybody says that he's talking with Derek Fisher, trying to gauge his interest, see if he's going to come in and coach. I've heard that Phil wants to bring in a guy who doesn't have a lot of experience so that New York press doesn't eat them up and try to compare, whoever this coach is going to come in and say, oh, well, Phil Jackson's always just waiting back in the wings. So I think strategically that's why he's going with a young coach. I guess they're trying to see if Derek Fisher is going to have that interest since they couldn't get Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr signs with the Golden State Warriors. Got to be excited for Steve Kerr. He's going to do a great job with that group. And how much better would the Golden State Warriors have been in that second round had Andrew Bogut never got hurt? The big man in the middle, the space eater, that changes the whole game. Look what the Spurs did to Oklahoma City when Ibaka was out the first 2 games. Got run off the court. Ibaka comes back in. They win the next 2 games. Having that big guy in the middle, definitely, there's something to it about not having a donut team. If you have nothing in the middle, no one to intimidate shots when you're penetrating, it just like everything just opens up.
Well, so, it's to me, it's kind of like a chuck hole in the road.
Yeah, amen.
You got to figure a way to get around that chuck hole without doing damage to your car.
I love it. We need to coin that. Let's trademark that. I love it. That should be on a T-shirt or a bumper sticker. Yep. Okay. Also, I know my son Brandon's going to love this. He's a huge Lakers fan. Whispers going around that the L.A. Lakers may talk Larry Brown out of coming out of SMU and come to the Lakers. Can you see a Larry Brown who is a great teacher and has had success everywhere he goes? Trying to get Kobe Bryant to accept a new role where, maybe he doesn't play quite as much, probably won't have the ball in his hands as much, putting more as a post-up kind of player, kind of save his legs as he's getting, to the twilight of his career. I think Larry Brown would do an outstanding job.
Yeah,
he's just a phenomenal teacher.
Yeah, and you hope they get somebody that can do that and kind of get Kobe to accept that role.
You got to get someone who the players are going to respect and respond to. You know, you had Phil Jackson sitting right there. Phil Jackson, I think, wanted the job. It just didn't quite work out for Coach D'Antoni, who's done a great job at other stops that he's had. But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see who the Lakers sign. But, you know, little whispers are Larry Brown. We want to wish Ty Corbin good luck. They're saying now that Ty Corbin may go and interview for one of the assistant jobs with the Sacramento Kings out there with Coach Malone.
Good for him.
Little tidbit. They all have the same agent. So that connection, that, you know, have that little in, I think is something positive. So, you know, we want to wish Coach Ty Corbin all the best with his next stop. Great person, great family man. Was here in the Salt Lake Valley for a number of years. Very spiritual guy. You could always find him in church on Sundays, you know, at the Baptist church. But, hey, we wish Ty Corbin all the best. Yeah. Also want to wish a happy birthday to Coach Monty Mathis with the Dallas Mavericks, a good buddy of mine. Today's his birthday, so Coach Mathis, want to wish you a happy birthday. A couple shout-outs for us before we get Brandon Sly on here to make his college announcement. A buddy of mine who works the Shot Doctor camps. He's actually the college women's coach at Truett McConnell. He is out in Pennsylvania, so I want to, you know, send a shout-out to Coach Matt Sanders. Matt, keep doing what you're doing. Build those relationships, teach those kids how to shoot that thing right, and hopefully you're traveling safe, but God bless you, buddy. Also, a good friend of mine who I've just gotten to know, outstanding person. He was actually at a trade show in Colorado, and coming back early Sunday morning, was in a van. He was driving, he and 3 buddies, rolled the van 3 or 4 times, I'd heard. He got a little bit shook up, so Mitch, hope you recover soon, my man. We're thinking of you. Thoughts and prayers are going to you. Hopefully you have a speedy recovery and hope to see you back on the job here real soon. So, Mitch, take care of yourself, buddy. We're going to go for a quick break, and we're going to get Brandon Sly on here. He's going to make his college announcements right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Back live here with the Coach Scott Field Show from Brave Haven Studios right here in Salt Lake City. I want to introduce all of our viewers to a couple outstanding people. My lovely wife, Kim Fields, here to my right, which I believe the camera is the left. Kim has been a part of this venture here the last 4 years with this special young man, Brandon Sly, Riverton High School, 5'11" point guard, goes about 140 now, huh? 145. Man, I thought you was Dwight Howard when you first walked in here. Slow down, big fella. But hey, no, it's an exciting time for Brandon. This is his last week of high school. He's going to graduate this Thursday on June 5th, and he's going to be down at Utah Valley is where you're going to be graduating this Thursday, correct?
Yeah.
It's been an exciting time for you being a part of our family. We're super excited to have you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about the path this last year. You've had several schools that have had some interest. We've talked to schools from Florida. We've talked to schools from West Virginia, Virginia, Idaho, California, Colorado. Connecticut has shown some interest. And until noon today, you had it narrowed down to 2 schools. Yeah. There was a school in Connecticut that we were seriously considering, and also a school right here in state. We have a national letter of intent right here that Mr. Brandon Sly is going to sign. That is where he is going to choose to play his college basketball. The national letter is here. I'm going to let you sign this letter right here on the top. This is Brandon's commitment to a university to play point guard Brandon, I know it's been a tough decision. I know it's been kind of stressful for you. You've been wanting to make this decision. Where have you decided? Where is this national letter of intent going? And where will you be playing your college basketball next year?
Well, I've decided to sign to USU Eastern.
Nice. The Golden Eagles, huh? Coach Bando?
Yeah.
Oh, so what was it about Price, Utah, and what was it about the Golden Eagle program that made you want to sign with them to continue your journey with basketball to see where you're going to go next?
Well, I really like the head coach, Coach Bando. He's a really nice guy. I love his offense. I think it fits my game really well, and they were nationally ranked last year, so I think that's pretty good.
Nice, nice. Well, from afar, you've sat here, you've watched Brandon the last 4 years. Are you excited about Brandon's announcement and where he's going?
Yes, I'm so excited, and I'm so proud. Yeah.
So that's only about an hour and a half away. So hopefully a lot of family, friends, high school classmates, teammates can hopefully come on down to Price and continue to support you as you continue your career. It's an exciting time, and we're extremely blessed to have had you this last 4 years in AAU basketball, freshman year at West High School, transferred to Riverton High School. You were one of the top 15 scorers in the nation in 5A. You were a 5A All-Star.
Hello, is this the coach?
Outstanding, outstanding. So we've got a
Hello, is this Coach Vando?
So we're going to get him on the line here for you here in just a second.
Hey, this is Bob from Brave Haven Media. I've got Brandon Sly on the air here, and I'd like to talk to you if that's okay.
Coach Vando, welcome to the show, buddy. Can you hear me? Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I've got Brandon Sly sitting right here in my studio, and he just signed a national letter of intent to come play for the USU Golden Eagles.
I can't hear you. Like the music's too loud.
Oh, okay.
Did the music cut out there, Coach?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
Can you hear me now, Coach?
No, yes.
Well, I've got Brandon Sly here, and about 2 minutes ago, Brandon just signed a national letter of intent and made his commitment to come play for the USU Eastern Golden Eagles. And we're awful thrilled to share this announcement on the Coach Scott Field Show.
All right, hey, congratulations, Brandon.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah, we are excited to have you as a Golden Eagle, man.
Thanks. I can't wait to come down.
Okay.
Well, nice. Coach, tell us just for a couple seconds here. Tell us a little bit about the program, the success you've had, the direction that you're going. I know you've done a fine job with recruitment. You're getting Division I players coming in. You've got Brandon Sly here out of Riverton High School. What are your goals for this next season for the Golden Eagle program?
Well, Coach, we are. This is going to be my third year as a head coach, and we're looking forward to go. As a USU Eastern in the past has a lot of traditions. We finished third in the nation like a few years ago. Some of the guys, over here, played in NBA. So we are trying to get the program back in the track and back on the right way. Last year we finished 21-10, and we were ranked number 11 in the nation. So this didn't happen for the long for maybe 4, 5, 6 years. So next year we try to improve our record, and because we're gonna hold the regional tournament. It's gonna the winner of these will go to the to the nationals.
Going out to
so our goal is to improve our record. Recruit the best talent that we can, but it's not just about on the court. We care about the whole person as an athlete and as a student. So we want these kids to come over here, graduate and then be able to move on to a D1, 4-year school. That's we care about the whole person.
Well, Coach, I'm super excited for you. I know you're doing a great job. You've been super busy with recruitment. We're going to get this national letter of intent sent right back to you real quick. Here in the next couple weeks, we're going to have you come be a guest on the show or call in, whatever fits your schedule. So you can talk more about the program, yourself, your background, and let everybody up here in the Salt Lake Valley really know what USU Eastern is going to be all about. We're awful excited to see the direction that you're going, and we're thrilled that Brandon's going to be a part of that program.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. And like I said, Brandon, it's a talent. He needs to be developed, and I think he's going to do a great job over here. And like I said, I like him, since the first time that I look at him on the court, and like I said, we are very excited.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you what's kind of neat. I didn't tell Brandon that you were going to call into the show when he was signing, so he was a little bit surprised to hear your voice in the background as we're filming this live right here. But really appreciate your time. My wife, Kim, is sitting right here with us as we sit here and sign this national letter of intent. And we as a family, we are thrilled to be proud supporters of the Golden Eagle program as Brandon Sly comes down here to earn his role and continue to develop on and off the court, because we're awful proud of him, and we know under your program he's going to continue to grow both personally and professionally, and it's going to be exciting to watch that development with your program.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate that, and Brandon, congratulations. Congratulations for you, Scott and Kim, as parents. Like I said, we are very excited. We're gonna work hard and to develop Brandon, just not on the court but off the court too. And I know you guys gonna follow us. You're gonna be over there and be a supporter, watching our games, and I think he's gonna have a fun time over here.
Well, Coach, what you don't know is this is a package deal. You've now got a team mom that'll be bringing cookies every weekend for the players, so it's
awesome.
Yeah, so cookies and cakes and all kind of sweets and treats to get these guys get their sugar buzz going. So it'll be exciting. But we're awful thrilled, and thanks so much for being a part of the show tonight as Brandon makes his announcement.
Well, my pleasure, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And I'm looking forward to talking more with you.
Yeah, we're going to have you on as a guest here in the next couple of weeks, Coach.
All right, thank you very, very much, Coach.
All right, have a good evening.
Okay, you guys too.
Bye-bye.
See you, Coach.
Bye.
You know what? That was pretty cool, Bob.
That was awesome.
I like how that whole thing came together. All I could hear Brandon say was, "What? Oh my gosh!" So it's an exciting time for our family, and we're super proud of Brandon to have a milestone. He's graduating this week. So what do you feel? What's it feel like to finally have that letter signed, know where you're going? You'll be working hard the rest of the summer, on the weight room. You're going to continue to work on your skills. You're going to go home to California to see your family for a while. I know you're looking forward to that. What are you feeling right now?
I don't know. I feel really good. I'm just happy to finally figure out where I'm going to college. It's exciting. I don't know. I've been waiting for it ever since I was a little kid. So I'm happy finally decided where I'm going.
Dreams are coming true right here for this number 11, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Have anything you want to say to all the viewers, or?
Hi, Mom. I love you. I just want to say thanks to all my friends who are watching it right now. Tyus, JJ, all you guys. Thanks, man. Thanks for always going to the gym with me, working out.
That's pretty cool. All right. Well, hey, we're going to come back here in just a few minutes. We're going to be speaking with my buddy, former player, coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, Mark Sanford, right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. We are back live. Brave Haven Studios right here, the Coach Scott Field Show. Hey, I just got a tweet, Bob. New family member who just married my niece a couple weeks ago, Travis Yoakum out of Indiana. He sends a tweet. He says, what do the Pacers do with that roster now? He says, oh, hey, by the way, Rodman runs the triangle. Spurs built versus bought. Wow, okay. Travis Yoakum going for them San Antonio Spurs. Got a lot of San Antonio Spurs fans out there kind of sounding off, Bob.
I like that. I like the denim versus diamonds, and I like the built versus bought.
Huh? Oh, way to go, Travis. I like how you're thinking with that. I appreciate you sounding off. Hope things are going well in Indiana for you. Thank you so much for coming back. Our loyal followers. We took a week off. Last Monday was the holiday weekend. Thrilled to be back on live on the air. It's always fun to bring something new and exciting, and what a special time it was for our family right there, Bob.
Yep, that's awesome.
To see Brandon, make his college choice. Coach Bando down there has done a really nice job with his recruitment. They're going to be playing Salt Lake Community College. They have their jamborees. Play in the same region, so it'll be fun that he's finally made his choice now. He's going to stay fairly close to home. I think Coach thought I was kidding when I said he's got a new team mom who's going to be bringing them cookies down there every weekend.
He'll learn quickly.
Oh, yes. Now pretty good cookies too. My wife can cook it up.
Now, Slick, they're still in the same conference as
Yes, they are.
Salt Lake?
Same
so
conference, same region.
that's awesome. So you'll get to see them play.
That's right. Yeah.
Home games here or away games
Home
here
away,
in Salt Lake, and that's even a bigger bonus.
We're
That's
thrilled.
awesome.
We're thrilled. Brandon has worked extremely hard these last 4 years. He's been very, very dedicated in the classroom. Has that 3.8 GPA. Like you said, he graduates this Thursday. What an exciting time for the family. Really thought that the school in Connecticut really made a great offer, and all this time we kind of thought he was probably going to go that direction. He made some Division I visits. He was up in Idaho, visit schools there. Had the visit out in Connecticut where they brought him out there for an on-campus visit. He had a great time. Really got along well with the coaches. He was comfortable there. So I know it's been a tough decision for him.
Sure.
And it is a hard time
absolutely.
to make that decision when you're getting pressure from the coaches and from friends asking you every day, hey, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? So it's an exciting time because now he can finally say, okay, I've made my decision. Here's my commitment. I know my wife is going to do jumping jacks, back splits. She would do the splits if she was limber enough, but she's so excited to have Brandon stay close to home, and we're thrilled. So it's an exciting time. Natasha, congratulations. I know you're excited to come up and see him graduate this week. What an exciting time for that young man. So we're going to get a former player of mine, Mark Sanford, on the phone. Just a great person. Again, Team JMP is the sponsor for that last segment. John Madsen Performance does a great job with the bodybuilding and the strength and conditioning. Brandon's been going out there with him now for a few weeks. So teamjmp.com. We appreciate your support. Thanks for sponsoring the segments with our prep session, and really appreciate the work that you do. Players here in the Valley, look up teamjmp.com. Give John Madsen a call. Tell him the Coach Scott Field Show sent you. Also want to thank our other sponsors, Brave Haven Media, bravehaven.com, 801-738-8697. Also MetLife, Nick Fitzgerald, for all your financial needs, your retirement. Nick will set you up, 801-999-3773. Also Salon Dante, my beautiful wife who is sitting right here while Brandon signed. She works there at Salon Dante. She actually even tried to educate us on what the Brazilian blowout was.
That's right.
Can you remember it? It's a straightening technique.
Yeah,
where they do something with it, relaxes the cuticles. I mean, she broke it down scientific.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed because I was like, oh, so it's for people follically challenged? You're messing with the cuticle of the hair? That woman knows her stuff. She's awesome.
Yep.
She's amazing. I just wish I had some hair that she could do something with. But hair extensions, Brazilian blowouts, cuts, colors, all the latest and greatest styles. She is a true, she's great at her craft. Outstanding and just a great person. So Salon Dante, they're located at about 94 South and 7th East. Gosh, that number, 801-572-8812. I had to do that one from the top of my head. Whew, not too bad. But anyway, we're going to have Mark Sanford coming on and being a call-in guest. And then after Mark Sanford tonight, we're going to have right here Salt Lake's very own Alema Harrington is going to come on the show and be a live in-studio guest. Really looking forward to seeing Alema. Haven't got to see him face-to-face for a while. He's awful busy. He's got some exciting things going on. So really looking forward to getting Mark Sanford on the phone here. Also, again, our poll question for tonight, San Antonio versus Miami. Who do you have? Who do you like? Who's going to win this NBA championship?
Spurs.
Either
Spurs.
Oh, I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing things. I'm hearing Spurs in the background. I think our producer's liking those San Antonio Spurs. It's going to be even interesting to see what the Oklahoma City Thunder decides to do. I really like Russell. Russell Westbrook is an athlete, but I just don't know if it works with the ball in his hands as much as it is. I think he's more of a two-guard, Bob. I don't think he's a true point guard. The decision-making, his shot selection, you got the league's MVP on the court with you and Kevin Durant. I don't know if he's getting enough touches. And I think they were a better team, of course, when Ibaka was on the floor to, eat up some space in there. But when you had someone like, Pierre Jackson at point and you had Russell Westbrook right there, I like him at the two position because he's so aggressive. He gets to the basket. He creates, he creates for himself. He's not like a Ray Allen where he's like a catch and shoot kind of guy, but a great job attacking the basket, getting to the basket, making things happen, getting fouled. He can flat out get it done. That's what's amazing. So it'll be interesting to see what adjustments they make. You got the draft that's coming up here. A lot of teams are bringing in their players right now. The pre-draft workouts are going on. Personnel, all the scouts, they've done their homework. They're trying to get the players in, trying to see who they're going to be picking to hopefully, change the face of their franchise and the landscape, bring in the right personnel to fit the team's needs. Do you go for the best player that's available? Are you looking for, a certain skill position, a skill set? It's going to be exciting to see, which direction these teams go. It's an exciting time. There's some good players in this draft. This draft is a little bit deeper than what the last couple drafts have been. So, Jazz are sitting right there at the number 5 pick. You never know who may trickle down and slip down to that 5 spot. So the Jazz are doing all their homework, trying to find out who's going where. And, of course, they're not going to divulge too much information. But if one general manager maybe sees something in another player and another guy bumps up, just like last year, Anthony Bennett, I don't think anybody thought the Cleveland Cavaliers were going to take him at number 1. And then, of course, everybody else kind of slid down after that. But so who knows what surprise will come out of this draft. They've done their draft combine. The players are getting their workouts in. It's just an exciting time. Your NBA Finals start this Thursday. What a lot of fun that's going to be going on. So Mark Sanford's going to be coming on the show. We got my buddy Alema Harrington's also coming on the show. How we doing?
Good. You ready for me?
Let's do it. Is my buddy Mark Sanford on the line?
Not yet, but he will be shortly.
All right, let's get him on there. I saw my buddy Alema Harrington walking around in the background. I am so excited to see that guy. It's been a while. Alema, my man, how you doing in the background, buddy?
Solid.
Looking good, man. Looking good. I miss you. It's great to see you and great to have you. Come on in and have a seat. We're going to get you on here soon, buddy.
Hello?
Hello, Mark.
Yes.
I've got Coach Fields on the line. I'd like to talk to you on our show, if that's okay with you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Coach Mark Sanford of the Memphis Grizzlies. What's going on, Coach?
What's going on, Coach? How are you?
Hey, everything is everything, buddy. We got beautiful weather here in the Salt Lake Valley. I got a big burn on my bald spot. I can't complain. Hey, Mark, right before you came on the show, my son came on the show, and he finally announced his college choice of where he was going to take his basketball, and he actually just committed. He had it down to 2 schools by noon, but, Coach, guess what? Brandon Sly has chosen to go junior college. Now he's an academic qualifier, so he may go 1 year and go D1 right after this 1 year, but he's going to play right here at Utah State University Eastern here in Price, Utah.
Wow, congratulations.
Oh, it's an exciting time for the Fields family. Little man coming here says he's up to 145 now, but I don't know how many rocks he's got in his pockets to make that happen.
Wow, congratulations. You guys must be very proud.
Matter of fact, I'm smiling so big I can't even catch my breath, buddy. But so appreciative of you taking time from your busy schedule to come on the show tonight to just kind of chop it up a little bit. How's everything going in Memphis, buddy?
Everything's going great. You know, just a bunch of NBA draft stuff, but nothing we can't handle.
There you go. You got some guys coming in for workouts, probably getting things lined up. You know, watching some of these young players coming in. From your perspective,
we've had 2 workouts so far. We had one today. Actually, brought in 6 guys today, and we brought in 6 guys. Maybe it was Friday or one day last week. So,
okay.
You know, we're trying to push right through them.
There you go. Good. Well, I know these guys get amped up and excited, just as you did back in the day. Just to give a little bit of knowledge to the viewers, we're blessed, Mark, that you know, we have a good local following. We have a great national following and a strong international following. You know, you played internationally at the University of Washington, and then played, you know, overseas for multiple years. That's where I was fortunate enough to you know, cross paths with you. We brought you in as a former player, you know, when we were in Lebanon together, and what an outstanding time that was together, even though it was a short time. You know, tell the viewers, you know, a little bit about your background, going from, you know, Washington to, you know, playing professionally, spending some time with Pat Riley, you know, doing the FIBA stuff, you know, and here you are now coaching, and, you know, now with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, okay, well, I'll tell you, it's, you know, people ask me all the time about, you know, the journey and my experiences and how was it, and I tell you, you know, it'd be hard for me to imagine going through my career any other way than the way that I did it.
Yeah.
Just the people that are in my life, the people that I've met, the opportunities that I've had. I couldn't imagine my life today without, you know, guys like you and Dave Yeager and some of the people that I've met along the way, you know, Paul Westhead and Rolly Massimino, who've been able to reach back and help me get into coaching and sustain coaching and just continue to educate me, you know, and, you know, I can't thank you guys enough. And, you know, I thank you all the time, and you know how much I respect you. And, but, you know, for me it was, you know, going to being drafted by the Miami Heat out of the University of Washington, and then, you know, had an opportunity to spend some time in Sacramento with Rick Adelman and that system, and then with Byron Scott, who was an assistant in Sacramento, and when he got the head job in New Jersey, having Magic Johnson as one of my mentors, it was pretty easy for me to head to New Jersey and spend some time with the Nets. But once I got overseas and you know, became a part of that whole experience and experiencing those different cultures, it was hard for me to give up, you know, the likes of Paris and some of the other cities I was very fortunate to play it, to go back and play at home when, you know, over there they give you the freedom to develop and grow and expand your game. And it was difficult for me to come back to the NBA. A couple opportunities I turned down, but, you know, like I said, I wouldn't have done it any other way, brother.
Well, you know what? I think the amazing skill set that you brought to the teams internationally, I love the fact that here you are, an athletic 6'10", but you were a shooter. I mean, you could sit back and knock that thing down from deep, which would open up the floor and, you know, allow us, you know, to have an inside-out type game, and love the fact that, you know, your length and the things that you could do on the court. And now that you're in the coaching role, you know, as you mentioned, you know, Coach Massimino, you know, provided an opportunity. You were down at Northwood with him, you know, and then this happened for you. And I couldn't have been any happier for a young man than I was for you when I actually saw something on social media, and I was like, wow, my buddy, Coach Mark Sanford with the Memphis Grizzlies. What is that like to, you know, go from coaching at the college level, you're now at the NBA level? What exactly is it your role and responsibility? Educate the viewers on what it is you do on a daily basis. Take us through the day of the life of Coach Mark Sanford and what you do and how you do it.
Okay, well, I have to kind of give you a little bit of the backdrop for you to understand why I'm in the role that I'm in. But you know, just the, you know, as you mentioned, the stuff with Coach Massimino in Northwood started as basically, you know, he had his staff, but they brought me in on a volunteer basis and had me, you know, create the strength and development, you know, program for the university, and also, you know, break down film. All of that stuff came easy. You know, you spend time in the professional ranks for so long that you get really accustomed to watching film and, you know, the little details and all the things you need to figure out, strengths and weaknesses, so forth and so on. And so it was very beneficial at the collegiate level. And, you know, we took the program from 13th to number 1 in the country. And then the second year, he wanted me to be a full-time assistant. And then the third year, they named me head coach of the women's team. And, you know, I took over a program that had only won 1 game the prior year. And we 4 games, 1 game in conference, 4 games overall, 4 and 26. And we were 11 and I believe 18 or 19 my first year with virtually the same stats. So, and Dave Yeager, having played for him in maybe 2005 and 6, the head coach here with the Grizzlies, he, you know, we'd have conversations and by the way, he says hello. I spoke to him a day in our coaches meeting, and I go, Coach, you know Scott Fields? He said, yeah, the shooting guru, the shoot coach. he goes, yeah, I know. So I said, well, I'm doing something on the radio tonight. He wanted me to tell you hello, and we'll have some conversation about the other stuff, but. You know, I had opportunity to speak with Chris, I forget his last name now, but he's the general manager for the Iowa team and so forth and so on. He's been around to, you know, the program here of late, the last couple of days with all the workouts, but you and I, you know, we could talk about that another time. But anyway, so what happened was Dave and I would have all these conversations on the bus, on the plane, you know, in the airports, and, you know, all these different places, and we kind of saw the game the same way. We were able to process information quickly. So Dave called me one day. I hadn't played for Dave since 2006.
Yeah.
He called me in like 2009 and said, hey, I'm having a coach's retreat. I want to bring you out. Well, that day, Coach Massimino had offered me the volunteer role. And so I thought that someone had contacted Dave and let him know that I had been offered a coaching role on a volunteer basis, nonetheless, but he said, no, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. He said, I called, you know, maybe 4 or 5 people to get your number because I remember all the conversations we had when you played for me, and I'm having a coach's retreat, and I just want to bring in these basketball minds and so forth and so on. So that began our relationship, and we hadn't spoken in 3 or 4 years. So I would go to his coach's retreat every year for 3 years in a row. Then when he became head coach, he called me and said, hey, listen, I want to create a position to bring you in. We don't have a position for the way that I want to use you, so I'm trying to create one, but then we have to create a salary. Now, I had 5 freshmen coming in. I had 3 transfers, 2 Division I transfers. I didn't think it was a good time for me to come in, so I tried to put it off until next summer. I said, hey, no big deal. It's okay. You don't have to create it. We'll revisit it next year. And he said, okay, I respect it. No problem. Well, 3.5 weeks later, he called me back and said, hey, listen, I don't have to create a position. One just opened up. It already has a salary attached to it. He said, it's the title is assistant video coordinator, but I don't want you to get caught up in that. Here's what I need. I need for you to be involved in this area, this area, this area, this area, so forth and so on. So I said, okay, fine, let's do it. And so they brought me in, but, you know, I'm in all the coaches' meetings. I have input in practice, input in game preparation, post-game. I mean, I'm basically giving me, you know, the role of an assistant coach, but it has the title of, you know, assistant video coordinator and player development. But I also do some, you know, most of the work for video coordinator, and then I do also a lot of the work for player development also. And then, you know, I'm also breaking down game preparations, game plans, edits, and doing everything with each coach for their individual matchup. So it's a loaded position.
Yeah, well, you know what? Coach, I remember how torn, you and I spoke a little bit about it when you were kind of in the process of making the decision, and because of your character and because of your commitment, because of the relationships that you have built, you know, with the athletes that were coming in that had signed with you, it was a tough decision for you to make. I know that, you know, you wavered, you know, strongly. You know, did you really, was the timing right for you? You felt bad for the girls that, you know, were coming into the program, and you know, you're going to have success no matter where you go. But I think it speaks to your character and your credibility because you were so torn about that decision. And so I just want to make sure I put that out there, that it was very difficult for you to make the decision. I'm thrilled that, you know, you committed to it. You haven't looked back. And I know that you are an a very important cog to the success that the Grizzlies will continue, especially working with those young players and keeping their development.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I got to tell you something. I cried, Coach. I cried like a baby in front of my girls. I cried. Oh, I didn't know that I had that much, snot build up in me. I cried. I cried. It was a lot of watery eyes in that room, and it was the hardest decision happened. I leaned heavily on Lorenzo Romartin versus Washington. He guided me through the process. He and Paul Westhead and Massimino, and they made sure we did it the right way, and that it was tough. I mean, it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more quick question before we go off to a quick break. We've got a poll question tonight, Coach, and I mean, I know you're with the Grizzlies. You guys did well in the playoffs. Now starting Thursday, you got the NBA Finals. You got the San Antonio Spurs versus the Miami Heat. Who do you like in that series? Who do you think is going to come away NBA champions?
I think the Spurs.
Really? Tell me why.
I believe the Spurs. Well, I just think that they have everything you need. They're strong at the point, they're strong on the perimeter, and they have size inside. And they can put so many different lineups on the floor that are all going to play the right way. That's the term here in the NBA, play the right way.
Yeah.
They have so many guys that are going to play the right way, and then they have so many individual talent that it's hard to defensively scheme versus them, when you talk about help and where you're helping from. Well, it's hard to leave anybody that's on the floor at any given time, and then you can't really double, you can't double Tony and Ginobili and Tim, and because Green is going to hurt you, and they have, Bellinelli is going to hurt you. They have all these shooters, and it's just, good luck.
You know what, Coach? Here's some things that I just want to recap. The Spurs have got a lot of bench depth, and they know their role. They embrace their role. They don't try to do too much. You got Bonner who can come in, who shoots it, like you say. You got Green.
Exactly.
Leonard has done an amazing job. Because in college, he was more of an inside guy there at San Diego, and he has worked so hard on his game to see him inside, out, slashing, going strong to the basket. I do kind of see him being the face of that franchise as they continue to move, as some of those veterans, fade away into retirement. But Popovich does an amazing job, but I really like their role players because you think about it, Coach, and I know you can echo this. When you're on the road, your star players are going to get it done. You can expect them because that's why they're the star players. You got your Tim Duncan who's going to be consistent. Tony Parker, hopefully that ankle's going to be, healed and healthy. He's going to get it done at the point, get in there, slash, penetrate, get into the teeth of defense, kick it. But when they penetrate and kick, they make the extra pass to get the wide open jumper, or you're going to see someone make a cut on the back end where it's going to be a wide open layup or dunk. And they're so good at it with their offensive execution. I like their system, and Popovich has got them playing and peaking at the right time. He's rested the veterans and has been smart with it throughout the season.
You're absolutely correct. we say all that about San Antonio, but let's not forget Miami is also coming with a lot of force.
Ooh.
And that 5-out system that they like to run. And with corner splits and so forth, it's tough to defend because of the pieces that are in place. But where San Antonio is really great is the length and size that they have with Diao and Duncan, and then the other kid from Spain or whatever.
Tiago Splitter.
Yeah, Tiago Splitter.
Yeah, they got Big Baines inside there too. Comes off the bench, who gives them a little bit of time.
Exactly. They have all that size, all that length. They can do a really good job of clogging the paint and just forcing you to have to beat them, on the perimeter shooting three. So if they're making their shots, Miami, then they can just brush them right away. But that's the thing. They have to make them because they're going to clog that paint. If you remember, I know you guys have to go to break, but if you remember last year, LeBron James through 5 games was shooting 41% from the field, 28% from three, and averaging 22, 23 points per game. He struggled mightily. And then Game 6, he made some plays and did some good stuff. And then Game 7, they went away with it. But I could see a lot of the early games going a lot like the early games last year and having them struggle a little bit. They're going to have to win some games on the road to make it stretch the series out.
Well, one thing that I do like with the Spurs right now, you know, they've got a deep enough bench that they can rotate and keep young, fresh legs on LeBron to tire him out and, you know, wear him down offensively to where you can get at him, you know, on the other end of the court and make him really work because, you know, how strong is Dwayne Wade's knee and is he going to be ready for that grind and pound of a 7-game series if it goes that long? So, you know, they're going to be tweaking and making adjustments to make it an outstanding series. I mean, this is, you know, NBA Finals round 2 and, you know, Miami, this is why they were put together. LeBron James talked about it when he first signed. You know, we don't want 2, not 3, not 4. So, here it is. It's time for it, and it all starts Thursday, Coach.
Yeah, and I agree. And I'm a little torn because, you know, obviously, you know, the time I spent in Miami, I have a lot of relationships over there with Spoelstra, McAdoo, and Riley, and Zoe, and Tim Hardaway, and that whole gang, you know, Jay, the trainer, and everybody else. So, you know, I'm a little partial. I obviously like to see them win and do well, but I mean, I just got to be honest with you. The Western Conference, you know, when you come to that Western Conference, you're so battle tested. It's going to be tough.
Hey, listen, Pat Riley is great at what he does. He is a mastermind, and he's a great motivational guy. And you know what? He's basketball knowledge is second to none, and he knows the strengths, he knows the weaknesses, and you know he's going to keep those free agents coming in and keeping that team strong year after year, and making sure that the right pieces are surrounded, you know, around LeBron James.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and I just got to tell you this: the first time I was in the huddle. And he, you know, would say something, and then he'd get quiet, and it's like he looked down at the ground. You could see his mind thinking. I just remember going, man, there's the genius. I wonder what he's going to say. And he just came back up. And he said, I mean, the guy's just unbelievable. His whole persona, you know, when you're around him, you can just feel the greatness. And he's as first class as they come. The guy's unbelievable. Can't say enough good things about him.
You bet. Hey, we're going to go on a quick break right here, Coach, and we're going to have you right back on here with the Coach Scott Fields Show. So let us pay the bills here with our sponsors, and we'll have you right back on, Coach.
All right, brother.
Coach Mark Sanford from the Memphis Grizzlies live with us, and matter of fact, as we were talking, Coach, you know, we were getting some more tweets, we were getting some more people, you know, chiming in about the poll question, San Antonio Spurs or Miami Heat. Actually, my father, how about this, out of Indiana, he sends a tweet, and he says the Spurs will outlast the egos, and the maturity, skill set, and execution will give the Spurs the crown. A lot of guests and a lot of viewers are really going with the San Antonio Spurs. It's that love-hate Miami thing, and I think so many people are, you know, just really cheering the Spurs team on. So it's pretty cool. I appreciate my father's chiming in also with a little bit. So hey, you know, this is just an exciting time, Coach. You know, it's, you know, like in your position there with the Grizzlies, you're bringing in these draft kids. You know, they're super amped up. They're trying to, you know, show themselves. Put the viewers in the spot of these young kids coming out of college who are trying to earn a spot onto an NBA roster. You were in that position several years ago. What are the feelings? What are the emotions? What types of anxiety? Agents are setting up travel schedules. I mean, they could be in Memphis today, Denver the next day. They could be in Cleveland the following day. I mean, they could have 7 or 8, workouts lined up to come in and try to earn a spot to get into camp, correct?
You're absolutely correct. The funny thing is, when I was coming out, I had a guy I was living with, I won't say his name, but in Houston at the same agent, and
okay.
He went and first workout, and I was told, I don't know if it was true, and I was told that he was out of shape, and they put him on a plane, and he was sent home, and they had like the number 6, 7 pick in the draft, that team. And so prior to going to my first workout, I had that in the back of my mind that, he only worked out for like 7 or 8 minutes, I heard, and they put him back on the plane because he was so out of shape. I go, man. Wow. So when I went to my first workout, it was the Indiana Pacers, and Larry Bird was the head coach, and it was, it was unique in that, they measured me at 6'10". It was the first time I had been measured at 6'10". I thought I, was 6'9", but you're in college, I guess I grew an inch. And
now you wore 2 or 3 pair of socks.
yeah, exactly. And I wore my socks all the way to my knees, right? So, but what I remember most is, beyond the workouts, right? It's the information that these guys give you about how they view you and what they see in you, and what the expectations are if they draft you. Those were the things that I think for me were gold in my development, because I was a guy that would hear a quote by a particular player. Charles Barkley said, "Hey, it doesn't matter what you eat before a game. If you could play, you could play." You know what I mean? Him describing, Charles Barkley. This is one of the first conversations I ever had with him. I asked about Michael Jordan. He goes, "Hey," I said, "Why is Michael Jordan so good?" And he goes, "Because he conditions himself to do what he does for every second he's on the floor. If Michael Jordan gets tired, they lose." So all of these different quotes that I hear are quotes that I would use to shape and develop me as a player. I remember camp, Bobby Hurley Sr. said, "A day that you miss is a day that someone gains." He said, "Every day do something basketball related, because when y'all meet up, he's going to destroy you." But he didn't say destroy you, right?
Yeah, I got you.
So all of these things, all these quotes, and I have a ton of them that I use for motivation, for guidance, for me, for fear, to preparation, to prepare myself. And, I remember Larry Bird saying, because I was an early entry, he said, right now we have the 11th or 12th pick in the draft. He says, "It's a good thing you came out this year, because next year you'd have been a top 3 pick. We wouldn't be in this position." I remember Eddie Jordan saying that, he thought I was, he compared me to Billy Owens or something, and another player, I don't remember who it was, but I remember Cleveland being upset at Indiana because Indiana had a pick or 2 before them, and they were being mad at Indiana, saying they always try to steal our players. So all of that stuff is what I remember. The workouts, I remember the people I worked out with, Bobby Jackson and Ed Gray in Indiana, and Joe Honeycutt in Indiana, and Isaac Fontaine in Cleveland, Eddie Elizma in Miami. And so I remember, Paul Grant in Detroit, but they were all different. Sean Resford and I was talking about that today. Sean Resford's one of our assistant coaches here with the Grizzlies. And we were talking about that today when we were trying to form our workouts for these kids. We were saying, well, try to think back to what teams had you do and how specific they were to your talent.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique situation. It's a once-in-a-lifetime position to be in, but the memories will last. Our memories are still with us.
Yeah.
And so we try to talk to these kids the way that the people talked to us and gave us information. Dave was that way today. Dave told them after practice, when you guys go to your next workout, they're not looking for a guy who is going to receive a swing pass from Mike Conley and then tell Marc Gasol to go to the other side so you could take 9 dribbles in ISO.
Yeah.
You want to move the ball, you want to get up. So all of that little stuff is great for these guys as they move forward with their workouts, because then they'll be more prepared to give other teams what they want to see.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Coach? You're dropping a lot of great nuggets, for the viewers. for the coaches that we're trying to empower to make them better coaches, talking about the details and, you know, the conditioning that's involved, the skill sets, you know, how to develop the skill sets, you know, for the players that are out there listening and watching. You know, it's amazing to hear someone like yourself who's gone through the journey, the feelings, the emotions, the anxieties, the travel, you know, the preparedness. I mean, basically, you just got to do your job, you know, and,
exactly.
You know, you bring your skill set and, you know, let the powers that be make the choice to see if you're the fit for that franchise to keep them moving in a positive direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Well, you know what?
It's a beautiful game, and you know that.
It's the best one on the planet. But let's be honest, we almost have to arrest you for loitering because you dropped so many names that you know we got to throw you in jail, my man. You know me, I got to clown a little bit. Got to keep it light, keep it fun. But Coach, it's awesome, you know, to have your knowledge and your expertise on here. You know, when you're breaking down film and Coach Dave, you know, is going off to the next city, what types of specifics, share with the viewers the types of things that you're breaking down within your analytics and, you know, the stats and all the preparation that goes into it, because I don't think a lot of people realize all the time and details that go into it. You know, we've got a video coach out here with the Jazz, Jefferson Sweeney, who's been here for years, and he's phenomenal at it. And I know someone like yourself who knows the game, played the game. You know all the specifics to look for, whether it's breaking down the proper mechanics or maybe someone defensively on the weak side's not sliding over to the nail. A lot of people don't realize all the things that are in it as far as teaching and skill development. What are some of the things that you mainly focus on, you know, in the grind throughout? Let's say it's mid-January, it's right before All-Star break. What types of things are you looking for while you're breaking down film to prepare the team for the next game?
Just making sure that guys aren't watching the action opposite the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys are in position to tag, to help, to get to the nail, because, you know, that stuff starts to break down. You know, we have a guy on our team who's an unbelievable athlete, James Johnson's an unbelievable athlete offensively, and he does so many things, covers so much space and this and that. So we have to make sure that he is a detailed defender and not simply a spectacular defender.
Yeah.
You know, you have guys on offense who are spectacular offensive players. They look, you know, I was that way. I was guilty of it. I looked for, you know, I say, okay, it's that time of the game. I need to do something special to get the crowd going. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I tell a guy, hey, next time just throw it up or whatever. And then we look for the live and we look for ways to get us going, re-energize the group. So, you know, we have people that are that way defensively. We need more Tony Allens, guys that are about the details, little intricacies of being good defenders,
yeah.
and not, you know, getting lazy or reading their press clippings on defense. So that's the first thing we look for, making sure that guys are continuing to tag, continuing to suck in, help one another, you know, pick and rolls. You know, there's 1,000 pick and rolls in this league. So
yeah.
I want to make sure that we're continuing to do those things to contain the pick and roll action. And secondly, Dave is really big on ATOs. You know what I mean? And I've got to tell you something. This guy, his mind, if he were in Vegas, they'd ban him for counting cards. The guy's, I mean, his mind is unbelievable.
It's
the
awesome.
amount of information that he could, I've never seen anything like it. The guy's mind is unbelievable, Coach. And so he's heavy ATOs. You know, every now and again he'll want to get some stuff on pick and rolls with Marc Gasol, all of his, pick and rolls with Vax or whatever the case may be, just, you know, to make sure that those areas are also tight. And, you know, just a lot of fine-tuning. You talk about January. So those are the areas where I think we spend a lot of focus and energy, and making sure that Mike Conley is not being hit so much. We want to keep him, keep bodies off of Mike, because, you know, we're going to play him a lot of minutes, and we don't want him to take a beating in the process. So.
Yeah, that's great stuff, and I know the stuff that you're learning within this experience is going to help catapult you within your career, and I know you're going to have a bright future, my friend. I'm super proud of you. I mean, let me ask you this, since you're on the show. You know, you've been around a lot of great basketball minds, some of the best in the business. You know, you're in the league now. You know, you were with me for a short time over in Lebanon. What were kind of some of the things that you remember working with me? What kind of things did you take from me as a player now that you're getting into the coaching, you know, arena and, you know, honing your skills and developing and growing in that profession. What are some of the things that maybe a statement that I shared with you, or maybe the work ethic? I mean, what do you remember learning from me?
Well, listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and your gift to me is, in my humble opinion, listen, I'm a guy that when I was 14 years old, right, when I was a young man growing up, you know, two things I wanted to do. I only had two dreams growing up, you know, in the inner city, Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas. And one was college. I was a guy that hated 7 periods of class every day in junior high and high school. So when I heard that college was 1 class a day and maybe twice a week for an hour and stuff, I said, well, now that's where I need to be. and the other one was marriage, right? I thought I'd be married at 21 with a young kid with a nice little college cut, you know what I mean, a couple parts in his head. And, you know, I thought the idea of coming home to the same woman every day was a dream, right? And maybe because my parents were divorced at such a young age, I don't ever remember them being married. So maybe that's why those were my only two dreams. Well, at 21, I was being drafted by the Miami Heat, so I had to put that on the back burner, right?
Yeah.
The family and so forth. I say had to. I didn't have to, but there were so many people that helped me get to that point that felt like they wanted to come along for the ride, so we did it, okay? And we had a good time doing it. But for me, your gift to me, Coach, and it's funny, and I'm being completely honest with you, it had nothing to do with basketball. Your gift to me was how to love and the way to love the woman in your life. The love that you would express to me for Kim, your wife, your now wife, brother, that's what I remember most about you. That's the thing that I cherish the most. That, man, if I could take that quality from Coach Scott Field, the way that he is so in love with his girlfriend, at that time she was your girlfriend, that's what I remember most. And, I mean, the basketball stuff, listen, you're a defensive coach. You drilled it. You were great with your energy. Was unbelievable. I mean, think about it. We lift weights every day together, right? We lift weights. But the thing I took away the most, Coach, quite honestly, is just the man that you are, right? Your dignity, your character. That's what I remember most. And the way you were so true to your relationship, brother, that's what I took. I mean,
well, I appreciate that.
Stuff is great too, but that's what I took the most, and that's the kind of man that I want to be to whoever the woman is in my life when that time comes. And I'm just being completely honest with you.
Well, I'm extremely humbled by that statement. I appreciate it. Kim was just on the show here a little bit ago. I wish she was still here, sitting here to listen to that, to remind her.
It's the truth, man. It's the absolute truth.
No, we had a great moment tonight, and I'm blessed to have overachieved in my personal life. Let me tell you, she's a great woman and a great mother to Brandon and, of course, Whitney. I love my family dynamics. I've been blessed. I've definitely got that itch, to get back on the court. I love doing this show to have guests like yourself to come on so that we can continue the mission to empower and educate and grow as people and as professionals. We really hope that the coaches, learn from these, the content that we share, the journeys that we share. I've got another friend coming on, as soon as you're done here, Mark, and we really do believe in this mission. I mean, I'm just a coach who enjoys hosting and trying to help others within their journeys, and we're extremely blessed to have you on the show, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me, and you are definitely making an impact, brother, in ways that you don't even know. It's evident by my last statement, but just continue to be who you are, bro. It is more than enough to influence, to direct, to guide, to mentor. I mean, I told John Hollinger today, with all the things that we've gone through, I don't know what hat he's wearing right now. But I told him today when I was, talking to him about the hour stuff and whatever else we got going, I said, yeah, he's like Dave Yeager to me. To kind of give him an understanding of who you are and how much respect I have for you. So,
wow.
I mean, you're my guy. It's all good, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. I got nothing but love for you, buddy. Super proud of you. I know some great things are going to continue to happen there with Memphis. Don't even have to talk about what happened there a few weeks ago. I know that's in the past. Coach Dave is there, and you guys are all going to continue to work hard as a staff. I wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for, taking the time from your busy schedule to be a part of the Coach Scott Field Show, because I know the content that you're sharing with our viewers is truly enriching their lives and souls. So I appreciate you, and God bless you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'll speak to you soon, Coach.
Let's do it, buddy. Thanks again, my man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Good luck.
All right. Well, Bob, that was pretty cool.
Oh, man, that was great.
I about worked up a tear sitting over here.
I
got all emotional.
Week after week, I'm just blown away the quality of these guys.
And you know what's amazing? It doesn't stop. Our next guest, Alema Harrington. Are you kidding me? He's coming on the Coach Scott Field Show. Another man with a lot of spirit, a lot of passion. We've been out, we've hit golf balls together. I got to work the Powerhouse, sports show with him. We see him on the Jazz pre and post game show. What a great man, and can't wait to get him on the show right after this quick break. But he's just a guy that I thank the world of, and can't wait for our viewers to get more of a Alema right here on the show.
All right, sounds great.
All right, let's go pay the bills.
Okay.
We are back with the Coach Scott Field Show here with Brave Haven Studios. I'm touched. I am so thrilled to have Alema Harrington, my man, my buddy, right here on this show. Gosh, what a great story you have with your venture. I'm going to let you educate the viewers, let them get to know you, because they see you in the wonderful three-piece suits, the pinstripes, just being sexy with your swag, Every night, the Jazz pre and post game. You also work with the BYU football. What a great time. We've got to do speaking engagements together. Had a lot of fun with that. You've got a powerful message that you send. I'm thrilled that you took time from your schedule. I know you kind of, before the BYU stuff goes, the Utah Jazz stuff just ended. You're spending a lot of time with family. Got a couple boys here. How fun is that, man?
I'll tell you what, that has been the experience of a lifetime. I'm so blessed. And before I even get into that, I'll just say, I would echo what Coach Sanford was just saying about you. What a compliment that is to you. But I would echo the same sentiment that you, just as a man, and the way that you treat your lovely wife Kim.
Thank you.
Certainly that is one of the admirable traits that you have,
Thank you.
you know, among the others. But to have that one pointed out by Mark as I was sitting here in studio and listening, I was like, yeah, you know, that is that, man, and that is a high compliment. But for me, you know, I'm fortunate. I'm sitting here in studio here at Brave Haven, and I'm getting a text message, or not a text message, excuse me, an email from my son who's on a mission, who's 20 years old. He's in New Zealand, and I just feel, and then I have my 15-year-old, 14-year-old son's turning 15 tomorrow, so I'm getting an email from him.
Fun.
And then I just left my 2 little boys that my wife Kristen and I have.
Yeah.
She is such a fantastic mother with them, and watching them grow is just an amazing thing.
Isn't it cool?
And I'm sorry that I missed Brandon here, because that's a big night for you and, and the Fields family, to see Brandon Sly make his decision, and he's going to
big
Eastern.
time stuff.
And that's fantastic. I'm excited about that. And so, you know, we get a chance to share that, and beyond the X's and O's and this business of broadcast and everything, which we've been fortunate to do together as well, and talk basketball. You know, just to have that family experience is it's thrilling.
It's that great balance that just gives us that grounding and that humbleness, because we get to go home and to our wives, and they're so good with the kids, and it's like, wow, this is really happy, because it's amazing, because Brandon came into our lives 4 years ago, and it's like 4 years has gone by so fast, and it's like unbelievable, because it seems like just yesterday we were at a Blaze football game watching your daughter cheer, and here's my son going, man, she's hot. So I mean, the little stories like that, I mean, it's just so fun. But you know, your daughter's done some great things, and it's just so cool. I mean, here we sit today. You know, the NBA playoffs are starting this Thursday. You got the Spurs, and you've got San Antonio Spurs, and you got the Miami Heat. You know, you've been able to watch from afar. Who do you like? I mean, you're a Jazz guy, of course. You're here, but what are your gut feelings when you think, okay, here we go, round 2, same as last year? Do you think the Spurs have enough bench to get it done? Do you think LeBron James is going to, you know, inflict his will and say, no, guys, this is it. We're going to get that three-peat? What are your feelings? What do you think?
Well, I would say, first of all, my first thought is what role reversal for you and I. I used to bring you on Powerhouse and say, you know, Scott, what do you think about the NBA Finals? Who's going to win it? And now you're asking me. But, then, you know, interesting as I look at the matchup between these two teams, and I think back to last year, and if it weren't for Ray Allen that shot, you know, the Spurs, they're getting ready to, you know, bring out the trophy.
Right. The fans were already gone. They left the arena.
You know, I'm excited about the matchup. The first time that this has happened since the Jazz were back in it with the back-to-back with the Bulls, right, in 97, 98.
That's
so,
right.
you know, it just goes to show what a rare occurrence that is to have two teams at that level. And that's what we have is the Spurs, you know, and well, I can remember being on the show with you and asking you, I say, you know, they keep saying that that window's closing on the Spurs, but it's been closing for the last 10 years, and it's still open. And somehow they powered through that window. And so I'm excited about it, but I can't bet against the Miami Heat, you know. I look at LeBron James, and I think maybe motivated in part, even though was very gracious in Kevin Durant winning the MVP. I think that he still has something that he wants to prove. And what an amazing player he is.
Right.
And I look at that Spurs, you know, the talent, whether or not Tony Parker can play, that's going to be a big factor. And you know, Kawhi Leonard is an exciting player, but I don't know that he's there yet. But who knew about Kawhi, right? And that's just a tribute to the Spurs, and you know better than me, certainly, what it takes to develop players. And man, Coach Pop and his staff over there do an amazing job.
They do.
Scouting talent, developing talent. So I think it'll be a tough matchup between these two teams, but I think the Miami Heat win.
Yeah, you know what? Think about, I've seen here the last couple of days where, you know, the Spurs have all said, and they've echoed the sentiments, hey, this is what we wanted. We want to get back. That's providing some locker room material for LeBron James to sit there and read. And like you say, the season's body of work, okay, Kevin Durant gets the MVP this year. You've got San Antonio. I think he still wants to prove something too. It's going to be interesting to see the adjustments that they make, what they're going to do, how strategically is it going to go down. You know, it's going to be a marathon. It's not going to be a quick sprint. It's going to be interesting to see how Pop plays it out with the pieces that he has and the bench depth that they have, because LeBron James is an amazing. I mean, he's a phenom. Let's be honest. I mean, his body of work, his body physically, his body physically. He's so big. He's so versatile. He's so dangerous. You know, is Chris Bosh going to sit out and just settle for the three? Is he going to have his back to the basket a little bit more? I mean, you got a couple bigs with San Antonio who can kind of bang and wear down, you know, a Chris Bosh, because I don't think he's going to want that physicality. So there's going to be a lot of little, you know, things going on behind the scenes to watch as a coach. I love the purity of the game and what Pop does with that group. Because again, they've got the bench. They embrace their roles. It's fun to watch. So it's going to be a nice little, you know, Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope, taking your jabs, sitting back, you know, coming out swinging. So it's going to be exciting. And like you say, it's great for the league. It's exciting for the fans. And let's strap it on and let's go to work.
You know, interesting parallel that you bring up too, because when you talk about those two teams, the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs, and I think we saw something, I don't want to say identical, but maybe similar with you know, the matchup between San Antonio and Oklahoma City.
You bet.
They've got some great players. Kevin Durant and Westbrook had some of his, you know, probably his best game with that 10 and 5 and 5. Certainly he's an electrifying player, but down the stretch, you know, Coach Pop was able to use his guys. They had plays. They knew what they could go to. The passing was phenomenal, whereas the Oklahoma City Thunder had to rely on their talent. And I'm not going to make the direct comparison between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Kevin Durant and Westbrook, but there's something similar there. And so when I look at that matchup, it still comes back to me like, you know, Popovich, he's the coach of the year once again for a good reason.
You better believe it.
And what will he be able to do with this group? Because we can talk about Tony Parker and his health, but we're also going to have to talk about Dwayne Wade and his health.
That's right.
So it's going to be interesting.
It is. You know, and you know, congratulations to Scotty Layton, who's down there, you know, as a general manager with San Antonio. Excited for that opportunity for him. But it truly is going to be fun. You know, going back to the Oklahoma City, I'm just putting my humble opinion out there. I'm just an unemployed coach, so I don't know. But, you know, Westbrook, he is explosive. He makes a lot of things happen. When the ball is in his hands, he is going to get to the rack. Now, sometimes, you know, I like him more at the 2. You know, when he's the point guard, when Pierre Jackson's on the floor and they move him off the ball and he's at the 2, I think they're a better team offensively. The ball gets moved a little bit more. You know, Westbrook's going to make it happen. He was scoring, but you got the MVP of the league sitting over there on the wing, wide open sometimes, and you know he's getting frustrated not getting his touches. Is that why he slipped and fell there towards the end of the game? Because he was trying to force and push because he finally had the ball in his hands and maybe tried to overcreate in that sense? But again, it's a lot of personnel things are going to happen this year, but what a fun time this is going to be for the NBA Finals. We're going to go to a break here real quick, and we're going to come back on with my friend Alema Harrington, and we're going to continue to chop it up and talk some NBA basketball. We'll talk some BYU football too.
All righty.
Let's do it. Roles have reversed. Roles have reversed. Sitting here with the Coach Scott Fields Show, my buddy Alema Harrington. God, you are a pro at this. I need to get my notebook out. I got my pen and paper. Teach me how to do this well. I'm new at this. I'm just a coach between gigs trying to bring quality content, and you come on here with all this passion. I'm like a young veteran coming into a gym watching LeBron James work out going, whoa. You're the best at what you do.
Hardly that, but you know, I think the interesting thing, and for those that, you know, just a little history between you and I, the first time that I ever saw Scott was at Rocky Mountain Review, and for those that don't remember, we actually used to have a summer league here in Utah, and eventually it went away. But I remember seeing you, and you and I'm not sure if you and Kim were married at the time, but you had rolled in there, and I'm like, man, that guy's got it going on. And then I would run into you occasionally here and there, and then I recall I just had this inspiration. I mean, it was just more of an impulse, or and maybe inspiration is the right word. That, you know what, this got to be on your show, because we're looking for somebody that could come in and give us some background on NBA, analysis, and the Utah Jazz as well. And you were spending some time, watching their practices, and what a blessing it was, man, to bring you on, and not just to have your expertise in that, because you were fantastic in that role as an analyst with us, but to develop that friendship with you, and that's really what it's about. As I watch you, and I'm sitting here as an observer watching you do your show, which was fun for me too, is that it's about caring, and that's how you get the interview that make that the person that you're interviewing feel comfortable, and then you get the gem. I still recall back in my days when I first arrived at Channel 5 and developing. It's still a professional but a personal relationship at the same time with Karl Malone. And being able to sit down and I learned from one of the best in Craig Bolerjack, who is the voice of the Utah Jazz on Root Sports now. And Bowler was so good at just making you sit down, and it's just you and me talking. There's some people watching, maybe a million or so, whatever, not a big deal. But as they feel comfortable with you, then they're willing to share their story with you because they feel safe there. And that's the beauty of what you bring to it as well, is this, people trust you, Scott, they love you, the man. And so they would just want to sit here and have that conversation, and we're having it in front of a camera, and that's what it is.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you. I think you're one of the best at what you do, and you know what? Like I'm saying, we've got to do speaking engagements together. We did one at West High School the one time, and had a great time with that. And the message that you gave to them, I remember you talking about doing things that were unprecedented.
Yes.
Your word was unprecedented, and be the first to do it, and don't let people set a ceiling for you. Break out and do your thing. Yeah. Do it with your personality and your flair. And what a great message that you delivered that time.
Just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done.
That's right. That's exactly right. If you hear me, clap twice.
Yes, sir.
So we had fun with that, and here we are several years later, still have that great friendship. I mean, several months can go by. I could be overseas doing who knows what, trying to win a championship, and we come back, and we always seem to kind of connect, and I appreciate your friendship.
Trying to win or winning a championship,
We've been blessed to have had a lot of success, and hopefully, we'll be blessed to continue that. But I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. Getting to watch and observe and learn from people like yourself. It can only make us grow in other things. But what types of message would you give to the viewers who have got careers and maybe they don't know what they want to do after their playing days are done? You obviously made a choice and a commitment to say, hey, I'm going to get into broadcasting. What was that transition like? And take us through that journey. I mean, let people know Alema Harrington away from the lights and the glamour. Was that a tough decision for you? Is that something that did you study it in college, or was it something that just kind of fell to you because you're a natural at it with your gift?
Yeah, I think part of it is the finding what you love. And my dad had a saying when I was growing up, and my dad is an entertainer. He's actually he was a history major at Sanford. He was the first high school All-American outside of the continental United States, coming out of Hawaii, Punahou High School, and then went on to Stanford, and then went on to serve a mission for the LDS Church in Samoa. Then came back, went to some law school, and then came back to Hawaii. Went back to Hawaii and started teaching school at Punahou, and then got into the entertainment industry. But just a dynamic personality my father is, and was on the original Hawaii Five-0 as a regular. The character that he played was Ben Kokua on Hawaii Five-0 for 3 years. He was a regular there. But I learned so much from watching him, and then I had some of that natural, those talents and abilities as far as the performance is concerned. But my dad told me when I was growing up, he would say, find out what you love, do that, then if you do what you love, then you become the best at what you do. And if you're the best at what you do, then the money will take care of itself. Because so many times it's all about, well, how much money can I make?
Yeah.
And that ends up being the wrong approach. And you might end up making some money and not doing something that you really love.
Yeah.
And I found that I really enjoyed doing this, and I did do some of it in college. I didn't have the GPA to major in broadcast communication, so I was a sociology major, as many of the athletes are.
Okay.
But I had a minor. I had enough classes in broadcast to get my minor there, and then I had to be proactive from that point. And so I had a great example for me, a mentor who was Vi Sikahema. And Vi played for BYU and then on to the NFL and was a fantastic kick returner in the NFL.
And then the Eagles? He had great years with
the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah, he started with the Arizona Cardinals and then played with the Eagles for a number of years. But as I watched Vi, the thing that Vi did, and he knew that he could be a broadcaster, he had the flair for it. But he spent time working on it during the offseason. He understood that at some time, and for those that are watching, listening to the program, you might be an athlete at this point and have to make that transition at some time. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And the best guys are the ones that prepare for that. And Vi would, during the offseason, started off when he was in Arizona because he's from Arizona, so he knew some of the people there. During the offseason, football offseason, he would go to the local television station and intern.
Yeah.
An intern for free. Now this is an NFL player coming to say, look, I just want to learn this business. And so that was the example for me. And so I did a lot of internships for free. And I was working and then just trying to break into the business and doing everything that I could. But I think that the thing that we as athletes, coaches, that you take over to that next thing is you remember the work ethic.
Yeah.
And that whether you're teaching that and you're teaching that from your own experience, you know that whatever you get into, it's going to take hard work.
Yeah. And
so you commit yourself to that. And so that's what I did. I did a lot of stuff for free, and was able to build a resume tape, and then eventually was able to get that first job.
Yeah.
And so it really was for me about understanding, number one, I had a passion for this, and I had some God-given talents, and I think God will let you know. He'll tell you, try this, and if you're good at it, then God's just letting you know, look, that's where your talent's at.
Yeah.
And so you follow that, that as you're going through and following this treasure map, right? Yeah, you follow the clues, and one of the clues is, that feels good. I feel good doing that. And so that was the path for me, and then I was fortunate to end up first in Hawaii, then at Channel 5 in Salt Lake City, the NBC affiliate, and was able to cover the Jazz through their 2 runs to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
The BYU Cougars went to the Cotton Bowl and had some great success, and I found a niche in Utah.
Yeah.
And then eventually with the Utah Jazz and now with BYU TV, as well, but the Larry H. Miller Company has been fantastic to me.
Great people, great family.
So as far as covering the Jazz and doing their half and post-game shows and working with Thurl and Coach Phil and Bowler and Matt, it's just been a real blessing.
Those guys are awesome, aren't they? Yeah, it's great to always surround yourself with good people, and that makes the experience and the journey that much better to learn and grow from each other. But I want to go back to something that you shared, because you talked about how your father was a role model for you, and it's the same for me. I mean, here I am, I'm just a guy out in the agricultural country of Indiana, and my father, he had to support his family at a young age, so he loved his sport, so he actually coached me when I was young, playing baseball and football, and some with basketball. But I can remember being out in the backyard with him, and my dad's shooting shots behind his back, and I was like, that's cool. And then I'd watch some of these fakes that he would do. He'd put the ball between his legs, and he'd fake a pass, and he'd get us all turned in, and he'd just laugh. I was like, oh, young buck, and then he'd shoot and score. I'd be like, man, I like that. How do you do that? And so it's interesting to see that, for both of us, our fathers were huge impacts in us, and developing us. And my father always pushed me to try to be the best that I was going to be at whatever sport I was playing, because I played all 3 sports in high school. But it's interesting to hear that you had the same type of thing, and here we sit now in front of this camera, and we both have children, and it's inspiring to know that we can be leaders and role models to our kids, and hopefully we're teaching them the right skills to go on and be prosperous in whatever they choose.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing to hear you say,
Yeah.
you know, that about your father, and I appreciate you sharing that with everybody.
Yeah. Shout out to your pops, right? He tweeted.
He
He's
did.
Got, what are you picking, San Antonio?
Yeah.
San Antonio, okay.
Pops
okay.
in Indiana
I feel you.
going with them Spurs there. I didn't know my dad was social media savvy, and he tweeted me.
He tweeted.
Dad!
Right on. I don't know if my dad knows how to tweet. You know, he struggles with the text messaging, so that's
Hey,
solid right there.
My dad's bringing the juice tonight on the Coach Scott Field Show. So, Dad, we love you. Appreciate
Yes.
you sending that tweet. So let's go to the BYU.
Yeah.
What was that like? You know, you played your high school ball in Hawaii.
Right.
It sounds
Yeah.
like. So you signed with BYU. Take us through that journey, the maturation, the growth personally from high school to college. What was that transition like? Because we try to explain it to players, but share that journey with the players who may be watching right now that, you know, are in high school and they want to go to college. It's a jump.
Yeah.
You know, and you see some of these guys in the NBA that, you know, go from high school to the professionals. That's 1 in a billion. I mean, let's be honest. The stats are small, but for you playing football in Hawaii, I coached in Hawaii for 2 years at Chaminade University, and I can remember St. Louis Heights. I mean, they had a great football
because you shared
program.
that campus
We
together
did.
with St. Louis.
Right there on St. Louis. That's right. And it was so fun to watch those guys because, man, they were up practicing at 5:40 in the morning, and they're out there, they're lifting the weights, and they're going through their drills. I mean, football out there is like Indiana basketball. It's like a religion.
Yeah.
And so take the viewers through that journey. What was it like for high school to college, and what did that mean to you to sign at BYU?
No, it's interesting too because, you know, your boy Brandon was here today, and this is a whole different world. Because I remember when I was being recruited by BYU, I came up on my recruiting trip. I met some guys on my recruiting trip, and then I remember being on a landline phone, calling long distance back and forth to these guys and talking about, oh, you know, are you going to sign with BYU? One of the guys, his name was Junior Lopati. He's a local kid here, and he committed to BYU and then signed with the University of Hawaii. And then I had another buddy of mine that was from here that played at Granite High School, is gone now, but Andy Katoa, and he came with, he was on a recruiting trip with me and then came to BYU with my brother and I. But, I mean, that's back, we're up on a landline, you know, when you had to stretch that long cord and try to get into the other room
like
for
this?
some, exactly, right, the rotary dial. We were like, big time if we had the touch tone. But now guys are tweeting it out, you know, and Brandon's coming on your show and making this announcement. And so it's a whole different world in that regard, but it's still, that jump is still the same. You know, for all of us that go from, you know, for me, all-state, leading rusher in the state in Hawaii, and then you come to BYU, and everybody was that, right? Everybody that was being recruited that ended up at BYU at that time in 1984 was all everything. And so I still remember that the humbling process of going from being all everything in Hawaii to coming, and I was at practice at BYU, and they had me hold a bag, and like a blocking dummy bag. And I was like, what? What in the world is going on? You know, and so that there was, you know, that experience of was humbling, and that's where the growth takes place too, because you have to make a decision at that point. Okay, you know, do I transfer? You know, what am I going to do? And you know, I saw some guys transfer, but it's a tough deal because you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the people around you, your family, your friends, in that regard as well. And then I suffered a pretty major back injury and blew out my L4-5 disc and redshirted after my sophomore season, and things were looking good after my sophomore year. Then after the injury, I came back and played a couple more years, played my junior and senior year, but I was never back to that level. And so, you know, then you have to go through the process. Okay, what do I take from my you know, my athletic experience that I can take to the next level?
That's right.
And that transition is tough. You know, we lose a lot of guys in that process because you lose your identity. And so it's about, you know, the biggest lesson that I learned, a couple of things, was politics. You got to learn the game of politics in athletics, and that's a valuable lesson to take to the next level.
Sure.
And then
any profession, any walk of life.
Absolutely, because I saw guys transfer because of politics, and they went to another place, and the politics are the same. You know, so you got to figure out, okay, how do I learn the game and play the game? And then the other part was just to recognize that my identity couldn't be based on who I was as a football player, because that's going to end. You know, it's who am I going to be as a man, and trying to figure that out. And that's a tough time for a lot of us that have been playing sports from when we were young.
That's right.
To now, I don't play sports anymore. I'm no longer Alema Harrington, the running back. I'm Alema Harrington. Who in the world am I?
Yeah.
And so it's trying to discover that for ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate you sharing that. John Matson came on here about a month ago, I believe, Bob, and he shared a great story about how he was unrecruited and he went to junior college, basically walked on at the University of Utah, and, you know, he went through some of those same kind of struggles, you know, about, you know, believing in himself. Was he going to make the team? And, you know, at some point, you're going to have that test. You're going to have that adversity, and how you handle that adversity as a person and as a man, and accepting that adversity, you know, it's the choice that you make when that obstacle comes that is going to, you know, put you on a path to positive choices or poor choices. And the support systems that we surround ourselves with are so vital. And it sounds like you had a great support system of friends that were around you that helped you through that time. I kind of had a similar experience. Of course, was a Hall of Fame athlete in Indiana at my high school, and was, you know, recruited, took an oral polio vaccine that caused my immune system to go awry, that put me completely bedfast for 9 months. So my playing career, I go from Hall of Fame athlete to being bedfast for 9 months, which ended my career. And thank goodness, you know, I was able to get onto a path of knowing that if I couldn't play the game, I wanted to coach the game and try to help others. So, you know, adversity comes. No matter what we do, it's never something that you prepare for, but, you know, we always have to be cognizant and aware of the choices and the adversities that's around us, because the life lessons that we learn in sports are so intricate to the success that we have after sports. And that's, you know, I'm just echoing what you were sharing with us. And again, it's great to hear your story, because to me, here you are as a broadcaster. We're blessed and fortunate to have you in the Salt Lake Valley, because, you know, even though it's a small market, if you're going to do something and commit it, be the best at it, just like your father was telling you, and you are great at what you do. And I think the viewers know that, and they watch you, and, you know, you get to work with Big T, and like you say, Coach Johnson, who has just so much knowledge and expertise. It's fun to sit back and watch and you know, see you guys do your thing. But it's great also too that, you know, you go through adversity and you handle it, and, you know, we go on and prosper.
Yeah.
So it's just good stuff. Hey, let's go on to another break here, Bob, and we're going to come back and have Alema Harrington right back here on the show with us. We're sitting here talking and just sharing all kinds of information. Or producers back there trying to swing, you know, trying to get my attention. I wouldn't count. See, I got to learn. I got to learn this craft here. But anyway, we're back live with the Coach Scott Field Show. Blessed and honored to have Alema Harrington here with us, and we're talking about a lot of different things. Let's turn it over to you. What would you like to share with the viewers? I mean, and Alema, we're lucky. You know, I think Bob shared that this is like our 11th broadcast, and, you know, our local viewers are strong. We've got a great national viewership and international viewership. Matter of fact, I forgot to give a shout out to Latvia. Latvia just picked us up.
The latest chapter.
Yeah, so Latvia and Austria and Australia and Russia and Australia. It's just, the list it's been boggling. Venezuela, Lebanon. So what types of nuggets and thoughts can you share with our viewers so people can know what Alema Harrington's all about and how to be successful? Because I mean, you also speak. I mean, you're a speaker, and you know, companies hire you to come in and talk with them about building. Talk a little bit about that.
You know, one of the things that as we were talking, and you know, I've been through some challenging times in my life, and the most challenging I think is and what people can relate to as far as the viewership is concerned, I think as we go through that transition really from athletics to the real world, and trying to you know, have a career and what's that going to look like and all those things, and like I said, trying to find your identity. And you know, it's interesting because right now the NFL is dealing with the situation where there's a bunch of guys that are coming back suing the NFL because of the drugs, right?
Yeah.
Well, the concussions, but there's another party that's suing because of the drugs and the painkillers. And I, you know, I struggled with that, and especially not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain of coming through that transition of who, and who am I. And you know, so one of the things that I've done too recently in the last 2 years, I went back and went to school and got my counselor's degree.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a certified substance use disorder counselor.
Wow, congratulations.
And I got my degree over at UVU, and I work with Jake Schoaf, who you may remember played at the BYU, but Jake owns the Phoenix Recovery Center, which has an inpatient or a residential treatment facility and an IOP, an intensive outpatient facility. But I learned so much, you know, I've learned so much about myself and my recovery, and I've worked with you on that, where you've, you know, been beneficial and helpful with me in working on parts of that, you know, as far as just the human element of it is concerned. And one of the things that I teach with clients that I work with is this why me progression. And I think it's interesting because we all have, as you mentioned, these things that happen in our life. And the way that I know where I am in my development or my progression, or for me personally, my recovery is how I ask that question, why me? Because the first why me is very victim mode, why me, and when I think about that, I think of, you know, if you're old enough, you'll remember Nancy Kerrigan, and when she got hit on the pipe, why, you know, and so, you know, and there's nothing against Nancy Kerrigan, but that comes to mind for me is like, why, you know, this almost a cursing the heavens of why me, why is this happening to me? And I think we find ourselves in that position oftentimes, but if we're there, then there's no progress taking place. It's not. That's a rhetorical question. Why me? It's not about, you know, I want an answer to that. I'm you know, I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm angry. Why this is happening to me? And the why me progression that I take my clients through is going from that why me victim to why me inquisitive. Okay, and like you said. You know, as you talked about your personal story, as you know, with the polio vaccine, and who knew that was going to happen? And you could very easily have said, why me? You know, why me? You know, but instead of, and I think we all do that for, you know, I have a 15-second rule. I get to be in the victim mode for 15 seconds, and then it doesn't serve me any purpose, so then I got to move on to the next level. And then so the second progression, the why me progression, is that why me inquisitive. And you ask that question, okay, why me? You know, well, maybe, you know, it's given me an opportunity not to pursue the basketball career as a player, but to be able to hone my skills as a coach. Now I can look at it from a different perspective. What can I do? Same thing for me as I went through my football career, and I went from, you know, all-state, leading rusher in the state, all of that to BYU, you know, getting to that point where, okay, it's my time to be the starter now, and then in that spring ball, I blow the disc in my back. And so I spent a lot of time in the why me mode that was negative, and why me victim, going to the why me inquisitive. So why is this happening to me? You know, and for me, it's really truly asking the question, okay, you know, why? Everything happens for a purpose. We believe that. So why is this happening to me? And then I think when we do that and we connect with, you know, for me in a spiritual way, and I connect with my Creator, my higher power, my God, and I understand, okay, He's got a purpose for this. So let me figure out what that is with Him, in conjunction and partnership with Him. Why is this happening? All right, help me out here. So why is this happening for me? And then as I learn that, man, the things that we learn because of the things that we've been through, we are, you know, a product of those those things that happen to us. And so the final progression in why me, the why me progression is a why me that's full of gratitude.
Wow.
You know, I get to a point at the end where I'm like, holy cow, man, why me?
Yeah.
You know, how is it I'm so blessed to be able to have this experience? Why me? Man, you must just love me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome.
To allow me to have that experience. But it's going through that progression, because we spend a lot of time in that victim. We all do. I do too. And so where I gauge where I am in my personal progression is, where am I? How do I ask that question? Is it why me? Like, why me cursing the heavens? Is it why me inquisitive? Or am I to the point where, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Why me?
Wow, that is powerful stuff, Alema. I didn't know you were going to go that. Wow, that's not why me. Thank you for sharing with us, because that's powerful stuff. And I know there's got to be somebody out there who may be going through some type of adversity, some type of struggle, and to hear you share that and the progression to how to handle that is going to help somebody. Yeah. And so for you to sit here and just openly and just share that, I think takes a lot of character and a lot of courage, and I appreciate you sharing that. We're lucky. Again, I can't tell you how lucky we are, my man. Gosh, BYU football coming up, the recruitment, the spring ball that happens. What's BYU football looking like? I heard some things a few weeks ago saying that there was some kind of investigation going on. I mean, I don't know much about it. I'm so much into the basketball stuff, but how's BYU football looking? I mean, are things strong, or are things on the rise, or?
I think things are looking good. You know, for BYU football, the interesting thing with the development of the landscape of college football is we're going to now. This will be the first year of the playoff system where you have 4 teams
conferences, alignments,
and playing to a championship, a true championship where you have the 2+1. But as I look at BYU, it's an exciting time. And yes, there has been an investigation, internal investigation. I think it's important for people to understand, and you know this, having been around programs, everybody's always doing an internal investigation.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? So it's constantly going on, and so it's not. This is not the first time BYU self-investigated.
Yeah.
It's the first time I think there's been the kind of attention to it that there was on this one. Everything that I've been able to gather from the sources that I have, and I'm close to BYU in a lot of regards, is that the internal investigation has shown nothing drastic or egregious. That it'll be a self-reporting of the violations, which are some improper benefits that have been given to players, etc., and that there will probably be a self-imposed type of penalty. My assumption, my guess is that the NCAA will look at that and say that that's good enough, and BYU will move on. And so now you're focusing on the first game of the season against the Huskies coming up. It's like I think 80-something days away, 80+ days away,
right around the corner.
From getting ready from UConn, from Connecticut, to take on the Huskies, and I'm excited. I'll tell you, Scott, I don't know that I've seen a player as dynamic as Taysom Hill, who is the quarterback for BYU. Some similarities to Johnny Manziel. Without maybe some of the some of the other stuff that comes along, or the trips to Vegas, and some of the stuff that comes along with it. But just an amazing athlete, kid out of Idaho that last year rushed for 1,500 yards and passed for close to 3,000 yards. This year will become a better passer, which that needs to happen.
Start to get the reads down.
And I'm interested just to see the development. Robert Anaya, who is the offensive coordinator for BYU, I played with at BYU. Is a kid from Hawaii. I call him a kid because he's more my age. He's a few years older than me.
Yeah. Kids.
We're all kids, right? And I'm interested to see the development of his offense, because he was with BYU from 2005 to about 2010, and then left and went to Arizona.
Okay.
And was with Coach Rich Rod over there learning that system, and then brought a whole. When he came to BYU originally, he had come from Mike Leach and Texas Tech and kind of the air raid attack, and he brought that with Max Hall and with John Beck, and it was exciting, and there was some good offense going on. Then he left and went to Arizona, and now he's coming back. Last year was his first year. They tied a record for most offensive plays in the game because they just go bang, 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 bang. I mean, it's
fun.
like transition football. They're always just going.
Yeah.
They ran 115 offensive plays in a football game, which tied the record for most in a NCAA Division I game. That's insane. That's just going at an insane pace.
Like a constant 2-minute drill.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to see the development for that. Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams. BYU has brought in one JC transfer in Nick Kurtz that I think will be very interesting. There's another kid named Jordan Leslie who's actually a senior transfer from UTEP. That's going to be an exciting player. So, you know, the schedule is not what it was last year where you had, you know, so many big games. There aren't as many big games this year, but I think it's a year that BYU can win 10 games.
Oh, wow.
And if they win 10 games, then, you know, I think the next question will be, does Taysom Hill go to the pros and give up his senior season?
Wow.
So
good for him.
There's exciting stuff with BYU football.
You hear a lot of positive things about the quarterback, and Coach has got to be excited to have that tool in his box.
The kid is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just an amazing athlete. And last year, you know, the fact that he was as durable as he was, you know, because I watch this sport, and sometimes, you know, if I'm down on the sidelines, you know, I'll do the BYU pregame show, and then I'll walk down and watch the game from the sideline for a period of time. I'm just blown away at the violence of this game, the collisions that take place.
Yeah.
And for Taysom Hill to run the ball as many times as he did last year, 1,000+ yards on the ground, and play every game, you know, that to me is impressive just from the standpoint of, man, you got to be sturdy to be able to take that kind of a beating.
Yeah, well, how cool is that to sit there and get some BYU football knowledge on here? Because, again, I'm just a basketball guy, and so here you are down there with your finger on the pulse. It's got to be exciting for the Cougar fans to hear what's going on, and what a great institution. And, you know, they've had so much success as a football program, as you know, as a player, and, you know, to be working it from where you're at now, you know, watching all the inner workings and the growth of the program. Coach Mendenhall does a great job, so I'm sure come August, things are going to get amped up, you know, down there. So that's neat. And here with the Jazz, you know, you got the draft picks coming in. They have the number 5 pick. You got Ty Corbin, who's going out to interview with the Sacramento Kings for a possible assistance job. Heard a couple names. I heard Adrian Griffin, who is an assistant with the Chicago Bulls, was coming in for a second interview. Also heard Quinn Snyder maybe coming in for a second interview. So it sounds like Dennis Lindsey, if you look at the two names, is trying to go with someone who's going to take the time to develop the young talent, you know, grow as a head coach, because both those guys have been assistant coaches. You know, even Quinn has been overseas, you know, doing the FIBA stuff, kind of like what I have. So I kind of got a soft spot in my heart for guys like that. But, you know, Quinn was with the Hawks this year, down there with Paul Millsap, a former Jazz guy. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how Dennis Lindsey with the Jazz puts his stamp on this franchise, because here's his window to say, okay, here's our coach, here's the direction we're going, here's our draft pick, you know, some free agency, what's going to happen. There's some exciting times for the Salt Lake Valley and the sports here. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on.
I'm excited about what happens with the Utah Jazz, and it's been such an interesting time for you know, us that cover the Jazz. I think for Jazz fans that are out there watching the program, because, you know, you either knew Jerry Sloan, there's a lot that didn't know even Frank Layden, right? Because all they knew was Jerry Sloan.
Yeah.
So when
23 years.
when Jerry and Phil decided in the middle of that season a few years back to resign and say, okay, that's enough, and then for Ty Corbin to come in and take over, and then Ty, man, I'll tell you what, you come in and you coach half a season following a legend. And then you got a lockout, or, you know, and so your season is condensed. And so no camp.
Yeah.
And so the things that he was dealt in that regard, so difficult. And really, I was impressed over the years watching Ty and his commitment to just grinding it out. You know, he and his coaching staff. Just being able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what direction the Utah Jazz go here. And for us as media members covering it, it's going to be interesting because at least even with Ty, we knew Ty because he'd been an assistant coach for so many years, and I was around when Ty was was playing for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
So that there was that familiarity. Now if whether it's Quinn or Adrian or whoever ends up, or
a new face.
Yeah, it's like
a new chef to stir the stew, huh?
It's kind of, it'll be interesting, and it's similar to when Carl and John left. Now you have some players that you don't really know, and then we became a little more transient than we had been in the past, which is more typical of the NBA anyway. But it'll be interesting, and the one thing that I'm confident of is that the Miller family will make the right decision for the long term, for the strength and the success of the franchise.
Yeah, you know what? We were so spoiled for years to have Hall of Fame coach Jerry Sloan here, and I can't thank him enough for allowing me 2 great years to come in and observe and learn from him, and to have philosophies reinforced with me. I still can't get over the fact that he never won Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's mind-boggling.
I don't get it. But again, then we make the joke that here are all these guys that get Coach of the Year. The next year they get fired.
Yeah.
You got George Karl.
Even greats like George Karl, right?
That's right.
That's a Hall of Famer there too.
Oh, guys are good. Guys are good.
See that happen, it's just like, man, what's this business about? Sometimes.
Sometimes I scratch my head and go, why do I love what I do so much? But it's in my DNA.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be on the floor one day again soon, and I know the Jazz will do the right thing. I mean, we got a great fan base, like you said, the Miller family and their commitment to having a quality product here year after year is phenomenal. So I know some exciting things are going to work, and you've got the whole. You got Smitty out there with their scouting. You got Walt Perrin, and you got Coach Sloan, who's now coming back. Consulting. There's a lot of basketball knowledge in that green room, and when all this stuff's going on, they're going to do the right thing for the Jazz fans and for this whole franchise.
I'll tell you just a quick story that was interesting to me. That was about the dynamic of the Jazz organization, the franchise, right? Because I think everybody was aware of what this season was for the Utah Jazz. Like, don't win too many games, right? Don't win too many games. It's all about the ping pong balls. And so the Jazz win that last game towards the end. They finally get to 25 wins, right? And I remember I said on the broadcast, I said a much-needed win for the Utah Jazz. And I got blown up on Twitter. People were hitting me like that. Is everybody at the Jazz as stupid as you? That much needed? That's not what we need. We don't need to win. But as a coach, that it's always about winning. If you ever get into a mentality or a mindset where you're allowing yourself to lose,
you can't have that culture.
You cannot have that culture.
No.
Right? And I think that Ty was good at making sure that the guys understood that, because we got a lot of young players on that team.
So young.
That you're trying to develop that culture and what being a Jazz player is all about. You have a tough season. You won just 25 games. That is rough, especially as all these guys are coming from programs where they lost more games last year than they lost their entire college career to that point. Their basketball career to that point. That's heartbreaking for a player, and to be able to figure out how to manage that and from a psychology standpoint, be able to deal with what comes along with that.
Right.
And so. I think for the most part that the Jazz fan base was on board with, we're still going to develop and try to win.
Yeah.
And you find yourself in that difficult, and then you lose 25 games, and Cleveland still gets the first pick.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, so when it comes to that, you do what's best for your franchise, and that's never losing.
Right.
Losing on purpose is never the best thing for your franchise.
You know what? Again, give that credit to Coach Corbin and his staff, because there was never any quit in the guys. They showed character. It's an overtime win at that. They could have thrown in the towel and said, okay, hey, you know what? It's the end of the season. What does this really matter? They never quit.
Yeah.
And you got to give that credit to the leadership.
Yeah.
You know what? Coach Ty Corbin did a nice job. He didn't quit. He was still coaching them up to the end. He never sat down and just, was wiping his brow saying, no, he was still up. He was giving direction. That's what those young players needed.
Yeah.
And so, again, I know Coach Corbin is just an outstanding person, great family man. We wish him the best of luck, but yet it's still an exciting time for the new change and the new direction with Dennis Lindsay and which way the franchise is going to go. let's just all sit back and enjoy the ride, huh?
yeah. We didn't take this show on the road. You guys need to go down to Vegas. For the summer league.
We're talking about that.
We're talking about that. Making it happen.
Hey, we've
you guys are way ahead of me.
We've been talking about it, but it would be great because I know we're going to get blown up with this feedback. Having someone with your character in class and your professionalism being a part of this show, we would be thrilled to have you come on as often as you like to share your insights and the professionalism and your fingers on the pulse on a lot of sports. So to give that to these viewers, man, we have just hit the jackpot, speaking of Vegas, so we're lucky. Hey, Bob, hasn't it been a great show, buddy?
Oh, it has, Scott. And before we start signing off, I got a question for Alema.
Yeah.
Several weeks ago, we had Jordan Loveridge and Mike Hall.
Yeah.
Utah, BYU from the basketball perspective. From the football perspective, what was that rivalry like, and how the dynamics today? I mean, the not going to play for a year and
I
stuff
just got
like
to say this. He's a producer, and for an hour before the show, he's back there sweating, putting all these graphics together, and then he comes up with questions like that. That's my guy. He's an all-star. In NBA, you got an all-star, you got starters, you got reserves. That's it. That's an all-star question right there. I love it. Way to go, Bob.
I appreciate the question, Bob, because basketball is able to continue the rivalry for the next 2 years, and I'm not sure what all went into BYU and Utah going into this hiatus. I understand that Utah's in the Pac-12, right, and so it becomes more and more difficult for them to schedule, but they've been able to figure out, and BYU's been able to figure out how to schedule all these other Pac-12 teams. So I don't know that necessarily is a legitimate reason. I don't want to use the word excuse, reason for not making that schedule happen. But I'll tell you, it's one of the best things that I have been around in my college athletics experience, whether it be the BYU basketball or BYU football rivalry. But the BYU football rivalry, was so intense at different times, and then during the Coach Edwards and Coach Ron McBride era, there was a gentleman's type of rivalry that still maintained there because those guys were such class acts, both of those guys. And I've always been had a soft spot in my heart for Coach Mack and the way that he developed players, similar to Coach Lavelle Edwards, not developed players on the football field but outside as men, right? And so it's always been fun, but it's different now because for me at least, I look over at the University of Utah, Bob, and I see that their head coach, I played with his brothers, and Kyle was a little bit before me, Kyle Whittingham. Kalani Sitake, I covered when he was at BYU, and so he's the defensive coordinator, and then Aaron Roderick, and just there's so much overlap now, and even for me as a guy that has college age kids, right, and then I have little ones too, but I'm old enough to look across the way, and a good friend of mine, Darren Hanley, has got a son, Harrison, that is playing for the University of Utah now, and so there's all these things that have crossed over the years, and it's awesome. that rivalry is intense. But I can't help it when I see my buddy's son playing on the other side. It's like I gotta cheer for that kid. Yeah. Right. That's my boy right there.
That's right.
And so it's interesting as we get older. The passion still is there for the rivalry, and I can't stand. I've had to do broadcasts for 3 straight years of BYU losing the rivalry game. Right, and that is a difficult thing to do. And at the same time, there's guys, whether they be cousins of mine or sons of guys that I played with that are playing for the University of Utah, or Kalani Sitake, Kyle Whittingham, Aaron Roderick, guys that are BYU guys that I look over there and like, those are my boys too, And so there's that overlap and that mesh. So it's still fun though. We'll take a break for the 2 years, and then we'll be back at it. Yeah. And we'll see what happens. And I know that Utah will continue to progress in the Pac-12 and start to get competitive. That's a tough jump to go from Mountain West to Pac-12. And
that's a big
stuff.
Huge
stuff. And BYU's got to find their way in independence and in the new playoff system and the way that is, and how the Power 5 conferences, how that all shakes out. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with BYU over the next several years, probably 2 years, whether they end up in a conference or not.
Yeah. You know what? And how cool is this? I mean, here on the show, we talk so much basketball. We're kind of segueing here into football. Football's going to be here before you know it. Alema, my friend, you have got to get back on this show.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk some BYU basketball at some point. When TJ Haas gets back from his mission. Jeff Chapman, who I played or was in the dorms with me at BYU, he's got a son, Jordan, that's coming back from his mission.
Yeah.
BYU basketball, Coach Dave Rose, bless that man who's been through his health issues.
That's right.
And just hung in there and made a statement recently that he's going to coach as long as his health permits him to, and hopefully that'll be for a long time. I think BYU basketball's got a bright future, and I'll tell you what, Kraskowiak up on the hill is getting it done.
Yes, he is. That's what I'm saying. Both programs are moving in the right direction. Larry is a relentless recruiter. He's bringing in the right talent. They're going to stay
new
competitive.
Facilities up there. BYU, come on, we need a practice facility for the basketball team. Come on now.
Hey, we had TJ Hawes on the show. I got to work with him last summer, and what a great kid. The Lone Peak teams, but Mika's going to be away on his his mission.
Yeah.
That team.
How about that? Going to Rome, Italy on your mission, man.
Nice, huh?
Yes.
I mean, he should eat good. He's going to come back with nice shoes and wardrobe.
Good looking suits.
Boy, come on. That boy. That's just good stuff right there. Hey, we appreciate you, taking time from your schedules, your 9 to 5s, your 8 to 3s, whatever you guys had today, spending time with the Coach Scott Field Show. Get to hang out with Alema Harrington here, sharing just so many nuggets. It's gosh, what a great time we've had. So we appreciate you being here with us tonight. We're going to come back next Monday night, 7:30 Mountain Time, with another quality lineup. But it's going to be hard to follow this act here tonight because we got to get our man on here as often as he wants to come, because I'll tell you what, it's great having him here, bringing his flavor and flair, because you got a lot of great stuff going for you, my man.
You.
God bless you.
Absolutely.
No, it's the best, my man.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, let's see you back next Monday night. God bless. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the Coach Scott Field Show.